and welcome to No Recipe Required. Hope you're doing well. Tonight I'm going to do a pasta sauce for you, one of my favorites, Bolognese sauce, or a traditional meat sauce. It uses ground meat as opposed to like a braised shank or something like that. I happen to use pork and ground beef in mine, and it's one of my favorites because there's so many substitutions possible. Just because you don't have one thing, no reason not to make it. It can still come out absolutely awesome. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on our sauce bolognese, or our meat sauce. This is the traditional Italian meat sauce. I've got my mirepoix here, onion, celery, and carrot, to which I've also diced up probably 4 or 5 garlic cloves. I like a good amount of garlic in this dish. And we're just going to sweat these vegetables down. Good pinch of salt when we add it. A couple pinches of salt. And some pepper. Obviously olive oil in the pan. And I'm just going to saute these until the onions are translucent and just softened up a little bit. And then we're going to remove them and start with the meat. Okay, so once our vegetables are softened up, you want to remove them from the pan. You can just go ahead and put them right back in that same bowl that you had before. And you want to get most of them out. I don't bother, getting every tiny little scrap out of there. And what we're going to do now is saute the meat that we're going to use for our bolognese sauce. Now, I happen to like a mixture of pork. This is a pound of ground pork. You want to make sure you get that paper off the top or off the bottom. And I got about 1.5 pounds here of ground beef. Doing a half and half, 50-50 mix is absolutely fine. This is frankly just what the packages came looking at like from the store. Now, some people also add other meats. Veal is really common, as is like bacon or pancetta. All those I'm all in favor of. No problem adding them in. I think it's just going to add a little bit more complexity to the flavors. No more complexity to the cooking process itself. So go ahead and do it if you want to do it. But if you don't like any of those, you don't have to do it. You could even do this with chicken, turkey. I wouldn't necessarily and call it a strict bolognese, but I'm sure that'll be tasty. So I've got the heat turned up. We're going to brown this meat all the way through. Then we're going to tip the pan, drain the fat out, and then we'll continue on. Okay, once the meat is browned, you want to make sure during the process, even when you just add the meat, you kind of get in there and break it up so you don't get big clumps. You're looking for nicely broken apart, fine grains, I guess. The first thing we're going to add to our meat, I've still got the vegetables kind of standing on the side, is a small can of tomato paste. Now, this isn't going to be a tomato sauce, right? It's a meat sauce, but I am going to have some tomato product in it. And then we start off with, what is this? A 6 ounce. I really don't measure a whole lot here. This is a 6 ounce can. And I add it just directly to the meat here, to the dry pan, because I essentially want that tomato paste to kind of toast in the pan and really develop a little caramelization on the tomato itself, which can only really happen in a mostly dry pan. So we're just going to kind of mix this together. I think by the time we get it incorporated, we'll be ready to add in some wine. Okay, it won't take too long to get it incorporated. Maybe 5 minutes or so of moving things around, and all my meat is taking on some of that tomato paste color. And in the process, that tomato paste on the bottom of the pan, which I keep moving around, is going through some of that caramelization, which is exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and add a little vino. I've got some red wine here. Traditionally, obviously, you use an Italian varietal, a Barbero, Nebbiolo, something like that, Sangio. I don't have anything open. I happen to have a little bit of Pinot, so no problem using it. I'm going to actually add a little bit more, probably a cup of wine. And once we add it, we're just going to stir it in and let that wine reduce down, again, to essentially a dry pan. And we're going to come back, add our vegetables, and a few other things. Okay, our wine is gone. So let's add a few ingredients. And again, I don't really measure these too carefully. That was about a tablespoon of oregano. We can add some salt and pepper, because we need some. We certainly need some, and we haven't added any to the dish so far. So let's get those in there. Then, in addition to our oregano, we've got some thyme. I use a little less thyme than I do oregano. Got a little garlic powder. Onion powder would be good as well. I don't have any, but again, it's not the type of dish where if you don't have one thing, you can't do without it. I've got some nutmeg here. I'm going to grate about a quarter clove of nutmeg into it. There we go. Add a couple bay leaves. Add my vegetables right back in. And then I'm just going to take a quick second to stir this together, just to get those herbs kind of spread around a little bit. They, you know, when they're toasted, even if it's just for a minute, they tend to release a little bit more flavor than they otherwise might. And if you get a little sticking at the bottom of the pan, no problem. You just scrape it up. You can always turn down the heat, or if you absolutely need to, just add a cup of water to this. It's not really going to hurt you. So once you got that mixed together, we're going to add the rest of our tomato product. I've got a pound. Is it a pound? It's a pound and a half. 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and I'm going to stir this into our sauce. And I'm going to find that it's looking pretty thick, which is okay. It's actually going to get more moist as it cooks, but to help it along, I'm going to add in a little bit of water as well. I happen to have a little standing by, and that will just go right in there and make everything nice and moist so it just kind of boils away. We're going to let this simmer for about 45 minutes or so, then we'll come back and check on it. Okay, so after, anywhere from a half an hour to an hour, you want to come back and do a couple things. One, give it a little taste, which I just did, but I'll do it again on camera. I think this one's nice. Sometimes the tomatoes tend to be a bit tart or sour and you need to add some sugar. I don't think that's the case here. I just added a little bit of salt because I think I could use it. The other thing I like to add to my bolognese is a little bit of cream or milk to kind of just thicken. Well, it doesn't really thicken, but it makes the sauce richer and gives it a little bit more body than it might otherwise have. You don't really need a ton. I just added less than a quarter of a cup. Maybe it was right around a quarter of a cup. And then I'm going to stir that in and let it just continue to cook down. Now I was cooking it covered just to let all those flavors kind of come together. Now I'm going to take the cover off and just lightly simmer it so that it has the opportunity to reduce, and as it reduces, the water evaporates, the flavors come together. So I'm going to let this go. You could let it go for another 5 hours and be fine. I think it needs minimum another hour or so. 2, 3 would be better, and then of course serve it the next day is great. So let's just come back when we're all finished. Okay, after a couple more hours, you end up with this nice, beautifully rich and thick bolognese sauce. Like I said, heavy meat sauce. It's not really a tomato sauce. It's more of a meat sauce with some tomato in it. The only thing you really have to do, come back, remove the bay leaves out of there, and then toss it with a little bit of your favorite pasta. I will see you next time on No Recipe Required.